Hey, welcome to another weekly recap of Trinidad Bhojpuri words and phrase. We're going to catch up with Vinay of the Cutlass magazine. So this is the star.
Right, they're doing it like this, right? The mashing up so.
So let's get started with the word KUDAAREE. So it was a gardening experience, or just simply things that we would have used in the past. I don't know how many people still use it today, but KUDAAREE was our Trinidad Bhojpuri word.
And KUDAAREE is essentially just a garden hoe. And so you might know it from the song Kaise Bani, and you might remember the phrase grab me KUDAAREE and shave out the dhari.
I pull up me KUDAAREE and shave out the dhari. Pull out the bina chatni kaise bani.
Which means to grab a garden hoe and shave out someone's beard. But yeah, KUDAAREE is essentially just a garden hoe that people would use as an agricultural tool.
Right. And many got it right, correct. And we thank you for that. We move on to another word, DHAAREE. And this was actually the tricky word. So I realized each week we have one of those stumper of a words, the words that keep us kind of ticking and second guessing ourselves. So DHAAREE was a follow-up word, which is interesting because you just said dhari, and many people made reference to that same song, Kaise Bani, and they said beard when really the intention was to get the answer rose, as in planting. So you plant rose, or you make rose in your land. And Sudhir actually made reference to sugar cane. So when you had to plant cane, you would make rose. But folks went with beard or mustache, and that's because of this song. Nalini actually said it right, and she said it has a lot to do with the pronunciation. DHAAREE versus DHAAREE.
Yes, exactly. So depending on where you put that aspirated H sound, if you put it at the beginning, dhari, then that's the rose that we were looking for. If you put it at the end of the word darhi, then it becomes a long beard. So you might know that in the long time, they would refer to an old man with a long beard as Darhi Baba. So Darhi is for the long beard, and Dhari would be the rose that we were looking for.
Yeah, so, and it's very different from Daru, which I realize most people also got. So well done to those of you who picked up on that one. So Dhari versus Darhi, and well, Darhi Baba. So that might actually be a new one for some of you, Darhi Baba, and it's not Dahi Baba, because I can also tell that some people might be confused with that one as well. So pronunciation has a lot to do with it. So thank you, Nalini, and so many others as well who tried to explain the difference. Also, there was reference made to the offering of dhar, which is actually when you pour, it's straight down. So someone said a streak or a straight line, and really when you think about it, rose made would be in a straight line. So thank you very much for that reference. Well done. We moved on to our Trinidad Bhojpuri phrase, which was a nice one. KHOJAYLA, short and simple, because we're all searching for something.
Yeah, so the equivalent Trinidadian expression for KHOJAYLA would be what you're looking for. So KHOJAY means to look, and you might know it from the song by Budram Holas, Saas More Khoje Sasur Khojawawe.
Saas more khoje sasur khojawawe. Saas more khoje.
Khoje means to search for. So KHOJAYLA means what you're looking for, what you're searching for.
Well, we were looking for the answer for our next Trinidad Bhojpuri word, DHAMDAA, which was also featured in an older song, DHAMDAA. I want to say thank you so much to Indra. Indra says, this is when a son gets married after living with his wife at his parents' home, picks up and go live with his wife's parents. That is when he takes DHAMDAA. At least that is what I remember my parents telling my brothers long ago.
Yes, exactly. So DHAMDAA is a man who goes and he lives with his wife's family, and the connotation is typically that in that case he would be the one doing all the household chores. So it's kind of a play on gender dynamics as well.
Mhm.
To break up the word, GHAR means home or house, and people might know the word damad meaning son-in-law. So GHAR DHAMDAA is sort of like a combination of those two words, and you could kind of say it's like a house husband or live-in son-in-law, things like that.
But it wasn't you. It was more used to poke fun at somebody, wasn't it?
Yes, it typically would be used by that man who is living with his wife's family and doing all of those chores. Typically, his friends would make fun of him and call him a gardamda.
Well, that was back in the day. Things have changed now. That
Yes.
is actually quite normal. A kardamda. And the song that you had referenced this from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's two main versions of the song. There's one by Ananyankran, and that's called Darling, I'll Leave You and Go. Darling, I'll Go Leave You and Go. And then the original was done by a singer in Trinidad known as Lakan Karia.
I can't live this Gardamda life. Approve to live without a wife. I can't live this Gardamda life. Approve to live.
So the older people might be familiar with Lakan Karia. But yes, his song, Darling, I Go Leave You and Go, he uses the word Gardamda in there.
Great. And we wrapped up with a food-related word. We're familiar with bhat, and we went with RAAJMA bhat.
Mm-hmm. So Rajma Bhat would be red bean and rice. So Rajma is red bean, or some people I noticed commented kidney bean, and that's fine too. And then Bhat, as we all know, is cooked rice, boiled rice. And you might hear South Asian people, Indian people say Rajma chawal. Chawal is their word for cooked rice, but in our Trinidadian parlance, in our Bhojpuri, it's Rajma Bhat. We use Bhat instead of chawal.
Mm-hmm. And there you go. So that's another week of Trinidad Bhojpuri words. We have some more words to share with you this week, and we want to thank you so much for your feedback and your contributions. We look forward to chatting and interacting with you again. So Vinay, just a recap how folks can get in touch with you at the Cutlass magazine.
Yes, you can follow me at Cutlass Magazine on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. And then if you have any questions, you can always message me or send me an email, cutlasspodcast@gmail.com.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this weekly recap of Trinidad Bhojpuri words and the phrase. This has been a KDC production in collaboration with the Cutlass magazine.